Most people break long before life truly challenges them. Not because life is too harsh, but because their minds aren't prepared. They let emotions take the wheel. They let the opinions of others shape their identity. They allow fear to make their choices, and when real pressure comes, they collapse. But Machiavelli grasped something few ever do. The strongest mind isn't the gentlest. It's the most disciplined. He saw the mind as a throne. If you don't rule it, someone else will. Mental resilience doesn't appear overnight. You don't just wake up one day, immune to judgment or untouched by doubt. It's built brick by brick, through discipline, detachment, and deliberate strategy. The world will test you relentlessly. It will throw rejection, betrayal, and failure in your path, and most will fold. But you're not most people. You're here because you're done letting emotions dictate your path. You're here to take command of your thoughts, your reactions, your focus, and your peace. Like a king who rules quietly but completely, ask yourself this before we begin. Do you control your mind, or does the world do it for you? The answer defines everything that follows. If you let the world control your emotions, you'll always be its victim. But if you take control of your mind, you become untouchable. Untouchable by failure, untouchable by betrayal, untouchable by chaos. Every challenge, every insult, every test will only sharpen you. From this moment, start thinking like Machiavelli. Detach from emotion. Observe human behavior. Use discipline as your armor and silence as your weapon, because once you rule your mind, no one can touch your peace again. Now, before we dive into the 7 ruthless lessons, say this with me and drop it in the comments. From today, I choose strength over emotion. Number 1, control the narrative. Power begins in perception. The way others see you determines how they treat you, trust you, and fear you. Machiavelli understood that the world is not ruled by truth. It is ruled by appearance. People don't see your intentions, they see your presentation. They don't analyze your mind, they respond to your image. In a society obsessed with perception, the one who controls the narrative controls reality itself. You can be wise, skilled, or powerful, but if you allow others to define your story, you give away your crown before the battle even begins. The most dangerous mistake you can make is thinking that truth alone will protect you. It won't. The truth is often too quiet, too subtle, too easily ignored. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge by the eye rather than the hand, because everyone can see but few can touch." This means that the world reacts to what it sees, not what it is. People decide your value before you ever open your mouth. They decide your strength based on your posture, your tone, your calmness, your mystery. If you look uncertain, the world will eat you alive. If you look controlled, they'll hesitate before testing you. To be mentally untouchable, you must become the author of your own narrative. You must deliberately shape how others interpret your silence, your actions, and even your mistakes. Never explain too much. The moment you start defending yourself, you've already surrendered your authority. A calm silence is far louder than desperate words. Let them assume, let them guess, let them wonder. The less they know, the more power you hold. In every room, there's an invisible war for dominance, a battle of perception. The loud ones want attention, the smart ones want control. When you walk in, you don't need to announce who you are. Let your presence speak before you do. People sense confidence long before they understand it. They feel authority long before they hear it. Every gesture, every pause, every subtle look communicates a message. I am in command. You don't need validation. You need precision. Understand this. When you control perception, you can bend reality. A person who appears unbothered is seen as strong. A person who looks desperate is seen as weak. You can face chaos and still look calm, and that illusion alone will protect you more than 1,000 words of defense. That's the psychology of influence. The mind believes what the eyes repeat. If the world keeps seeing you composed, confident, and strategic, it will treat you accordingly even when inside you're still learning to master that control. Machiavelli believed that reputation is the foundation of all power. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Never forget that. Appear strong even when uncertain. Appear unshaken even when pressured. Control your tone, your gaze, your words, and your energy. Your silence should be louder than other people's noise. When people try to label you, don't react. Rewrite the label through your actions. When they underestimate you, let results speak. When they question you, respond with calm confidence. Control is not about manipulation, it's about direction. Deciding how your energy and image are perceived in a chaotic world. Once you master this, you'll stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. You'll no longer live by how others define you. You'll define yourself because the one who owns his story owns his destiny. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my image. Number 2, detach from emotion. Emotion is the easiest weapon the world uses to control you. The moment someone can trigger your anger, sadness, or fear, they own you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He observed that people who react emotionally are predictable, and predictable minds are easy to manipulate. Detachment is not coldness. It's strength in disguise. It's the power to observe chaos without letting it enter your mind. When you detach, you stop bleeding energy on things that don't deserve your focus. You stop reacting to every insult, every disappointment, every false expectation. You start responding with control instead of emotion, and in that moment you become dangerous. Most people pride themselves on being real. Thinking emotional expression is strength, but uncontrolled emotion is vulnerability, disguised as honesty. When you're too quick to react, you reveal your triggers. You expose where you can be attacked. People sense it. And even unconsciously, they'll push those buttons to control you. That's how manipulation works, not through power, but through emotional access. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does." Finally, he meant that wisdom lies in control, responding only when it serves your purpose. The fool reacts instantly. The wise stay still until it's time to strike. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by feelings. You can feel pain without drowning in it. You can acknowledge betrayal without letting it destroy your peace. The secret is simple. You're not your emotions. You are the one watching them. Every emotion is like a passing storm, loud, wild, temporary. Don't chase the thunder. Stand still and watch it pass. That stillness is power. It's what Machiavelli called the strength of command, the ability to stay calm when everyone else collapses under pressure. People will fear that calmness because they can't read it, and what can't be read can't be controlled. Imagine this. Two people face the same insult. One explodes in anger, losing control of his image and his words. The other looks straight at the offender and simply smiles. The second person wins without saying a word. He didn't react. He redirected. He didn't fight. He observed. That's psychological mastery. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about owning it. You control what leaves your mind. You choose when to respond. You decide when to move and when to wait. That level of control separates the rulers from the ruled. Machiavelli advised leaders to appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, religious, and also to be so, but with a mind so framed that when it is necessary not to be so, you may change to the opposite. This means you must know how to detach from your feelings when they threaten your strategy. If your emotion serves your purpose, use it. If it weakens your position, silence it. Emotion must serve you, not enslave you. Detachment also protects your peace. Once you stop reacting to everything, life becomes quieter. You stop wasting energy proving yourself. You stop explaining to people who will never understand. You stop expecting fairness in a world built on power. Emotional distance gives you clarity. You start seeing patterns instead of problems. You stop taking everything personally and start using it as data. That's when you start winning silently. When you master emotional detachment, you stop being a slave to chaos. No insult, betrayal, or failure can truly touch you. You might bend, but you never break. You move through life with stillness, not fear, because no one can shake a mind that refuses to react. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I feel, but I do not fall. Number 3, expect betrayal. Trust strategy. Betrayal is not an exception in life, it's a pattern. The sooner you understand that loyalty is temporary, the faster you'll stop being shocked when people turn against you. Machiavelli warned that loyalty lasts only as long as it serves someone's interest. When that interest ends, so does their devotion. To survive in a world built on self-interest, you must replace emotional trust with strategic awareness. The wise man doesn't depend on promises. He builds systems that protect him when those promises break. Most people suffer because they expect consistency in a world driven by convenience. They think loyalty is sacred, but in reality it's conditional. Expecting betrayal doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." He meant that people will shift their loyalty whenever it benefits them, and you must never take that personally. Betrayal is not always an act of evil. Sometimes it's just human nature revealing itself. When you understand that, you stop reacting with anger and start responding with clarity. You no longer see betrayal as a tragedy. You see it as information. It shows you who values advantage over integrity, who pretends out of need, and who will abandon you when the winds change. The most strategic minds don't rely on loyalty. They rely on structure. They don't tie their survival to people. They tie it to systems. When you trust emotion, you make yourself dependent. When you trust design, you make yourself independent. Always have a plan that functions even if everyone turns their back on you. Always position yourself so that no single person holds the power to destroy your peace or progress. That's not cold, it's intelligent. Detachment from blind trust doesn't kill connection, it refines it. You start valuing actions over words and patterns over promises. When you expect betrayal, you stop over-investing in illusions. You see through flattery. You notice inconsistencies. You learn to read intentions before they reach your heart. Machiavelli believed that foresight is the greatest form of power. A leader who predicts deception before it happens never loses control. He wrote, "The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing in great crisis to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live." This is not pessimism, it's realism. You learn to care selectively. You learn to protect your energy from unworthy causes and unstable allies. Most people get destroyed not because they're betrayed, but because they refuse to believe it could happen. They live in denial until the knife is already in their back. The Machiavellian mindset removes that illusion. It accepts human inconsistency as a fact and prepares accordingly. You don't build walls around your heart. You build gates that open only for those who've proven their loyalty through time and adversity. And even then, you never forget that anyone can change. That's not cynicism, it's power. It means you're alert but not bitter, cautious but not cold, aware but never weak. When you expect betrayal, you stop fearing it. You become mentally untouchable because nothing surprises you anymore. Your strategy becomes your shield. Your clarity becomes your armor. You no longer chase loyalty. You command respect through your calm and preparation, because the one who anticipates betrayal never kneels to it. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I trust strategy, not sympathy. Number 4, appear calm. Think cold. In a chaotic world, calmness is the most intimidating form of strength. Most people equate composure with softness, but Machiavelli saw it as a weapon of psychological warfare. When you appear calm while others panic, you project superiority without speaking a word. The calm mind observes what the restless cannot see. The cold thinker spots patterns hidden behind emotion. When you can appear serene in the middle of disorder, people start to fear your control. They sense that nothing can shake you, and that mystery becomes dominance. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must learn how not to be good." He didn't mean cruelty. He meant emotional discipline, the ability to detach from kindness when it weakens authority. Being good is easy. Staying calm when everything burns around you is divine. When people expect you to break and you don't, their illusion of power over you collapses. Calmness terrifies the unstable. It makes the impulsive hesitate. They can't understand why you don't react, why you don't argue, why you don't crumble. That silence becomes a mirror reflecting their chaos. Your stillness exposes their lack of control. The world respects the one who remains centered under pressure because it's rare. Most minds are slaves to reaction. They speak too quickly, decide too soon, and lose everything to emotion. The cold strategist pauses, studies, and chooses precisely when to move. Patience is not weakness, it's control over time. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. That balance requires a calm surface and a calculating mind beneath it. You must appear tranquil like water, yet sharp like ice below the surface. People should see no trace of your internal process. Never reveal tension, doubt, or fear. Let them wonder if you even feel it. The less they know about your emotional state, the more unpredictable you become. Unpredictability is power. It forces others to play on your terms. To appear calm, you must first train your inner voice. Every irritation, every insult, every unexpected problem must be met with one question. Does reacting help me win? If the answer is no, you remain silent. That silence unsettles people more than anger ever could. A calm reaction kills arguments faster than aggression. The cold mind doesn't seek victory through words, it wins through energy. Even when surrounded by hostility, keep your tone slow, your eyes steady, your gestures minimal. Confidence is communicated through stillness, not noise. This lesson is not about hiding emotion, but mastering display. You must control the theater of your presence. What people see should always serve your advantage. Appear rational when others are irrational. Smile when they expect rage. Walk slowly when they rush. Show that you are never moved unless you choose to be. Over time, this aura becomes armor. No one knows your breaking point because you never reveal it. You become the calm in every storm, the observer among reactors, the strategist among victims. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My calmness is my power. Number 5, keep power in silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is control in its purest form. The more you talk, the more you reveal. Every unnecessary word becomes a window into your mind, and once people can read you, they can predict you. Machiavelli understood that power is preserved through mystery. He knew that silence is not a lack of communication. It's a deliberate strategy of dominance. When you speak less, people start to imagine more. They fill the silence with their own fears, doubts, and assumptions. That uncertainty becomes your advantage. The quiet man is never ignored. He's studied, analyzed, and whispered about. The world underestimates those who speak little until they act. And by the time they do, it's already too late to stop them. Words are cheap. Everyone uses them to seek validation. But power doesn't explain itself. When you justify your choices, you give others authority to judge them. When you argue, you admit that someone else's opinion matters. Silence destroys that illusion. It sends a clear message. You don't owe anyone understanding. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." He meant that even restraint carries risk, but silence is a calculated risk. It invites misunderstanding, but it also commands fear. People don't fear what they can predict, they fear what they can't interpret. The quiet individual who listens more than he speaks becomes the most dangerous presence in any room because everyone wonders what he's thinking and what he's planning. To master silence, you must first overcome the urge to prove yourself. Most people speak to protect their ego. They explain, defend, and overstate to appear in control. But every explanation leaks insecurity. The Machiavellian mind has no such need. It speaks only with intention, only when the outcome demands it. You must learn to be comfortable with pauses, with the tension of unspoken words, with letting others drown in their own noise. When you stay silent, you force others to expose their thoughts. You learn their weaknesses while protecting yours. Silence turns conversations into mirrors that reflect the truth of others, but never yours. In negotiations, arguments, or confrontations, silence bends the battlefield. It makes the impatient reveal too much. It makes the arrogant lose control. Every second you hold your tongue, they show more of their strategy. Machiavelli's philosophy thrived on observation. The silent observer sees everything the loud forgets to notice. You can read micro-expressions, tone shifts, inconsistencies, details hidden from those too busy talking. Silence is not absence of power. It's its concentration. Like a blade sheathed but ready, it holds energy without wasting it. Never underestimate how silence shifts perception. A person who speaks rarely is assumed to think deeply. Their words carry weight because they are scarce. You don't have to be the smartest in the room. You just have to be the one who doesn't need to speak. That alone separates you from the impulsive and the insecure. Over time, silence becomes your identity. It makes you unpredictable, respected, and feared all at once. When you do decide to speak, your voice cuts through the air like a weapon because it's used with precision, not habit. Power is not loud, it's measured. The strongest presence doesn't need noise to be noticed. It needs composure, observation, and patience. Keep your plans hidden, your feelings unreadable, and your words minimal. When people can't decode you, they can't defeat you. Silence keeps you untouchable, untamed, and one step ahead of every mind trying to control yours. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks power. Number 6, master the art of absence. Presence loses value when it becomes constant. The more accessible you are, the less you are respected. Machiavelli understood that scarcity is the essence of influence. He knew that a leader who appears too often becomes ordinary, but one who appears rarely becomes a myth. Absence is not withdrawal, it's strategy. It creates distance that breeds curiosity, authority, and longing. When people can't always reach you, they start to imagine your worth. They replay your words, analyze your silence, and anticipate your return. That anticipation is power. Every great strategist knows that timing matters more than frequency. Appear too much, and your presence loses its weight. Appear selectively, and every entrance feels like an event. The weak crave constant attention because they fear being forgotten. The strong withdraw deliberately to make their presence heavier. Machiavelli once said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear." The wise individual understands that absence can create both. When you disappear, people either miss you or fear losing your favor. Both emotions give you control. Continuous exposure dulls mystery. When people know everything about you, they stop respecting you. But when you become slightly out of reach, they begin to imagine more than they know. That imagination strengthens your image far more than visibility ever could. Absence also protects your mind from noise. Constant interaction drains focus and exposes your patterns. The Machiavellian thinker values solitude not for comfort, but for recalibration. When you remove yourself from the crowd, you regain perspective. You begin to see what others are too distracted to notice. The crowd moves by emotion. The detached mind moves by clarity. To master absence, you must learn to retreat without explanation. Don't announce your silence. Don't justify your distance. Simply vanish when necessary and return only when your presence serves a purpose. Those who notice your absence reveal who values you. Those who don't reveal who never mattered. The rarest minds understand the rhythm of presence. They know when to step forward and when to vanish. Machiavelli advised rulers to manage visibility carefully. Understanding that distance sustains power. A constant flame burns out fast, but a controlled one lasts through time. You don't need to be everywhere to be felt. You need to be remembered. Your absence must speak louder than others' presence. Let people wonder where you are, what you're thinking, and why you withdrew. That uncertainty keeps you relevant even when you're gone. It makes your silence echo longer than their noise. Disappearing strategically also filters loyalty. The people who remain consistent during your silence are the ones who truly align with your vision. Absence becomes a test of character. It separates the curious from the committed. Most individuals seek attention because they measure worth by reaction. But reaction is fragile. True worth is measured by the silence that follows your absence. If people still talk about you, reference you, or try to interpret your actions while you're gone, you've already built power that doesn't depend on presence. When you master absence, you command attention without effort. You become an idea rather than just a person, something that lingers even when unseen. The world chases what it can't have and respects what it can't control. So step back when you feel the urge to overprove yourself. Create distance that magnifies your value. Disappear not to hide, but to remind the world that your time and energy are privileges, not guarantees. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My absence amplifies my power. Number 7, rule your mind. Rule everything. Every form of power begins within the mind. If you cannot command your thoughts, no strategy, wealth, or influence will ever last. Machiavelli understood that the greatest victories are won in silence within the walls of one's own mind. The world belongs to those who can direct their focus while others drown in distraction. To rule your mind is to master every battlefield, because every external challenge starts as an internal reaction. The strongest person is not the one who controls others. It's the one who controls himself when everything tries to shake him. When you own your inner world, nothing external can truly touch you. Most people lose the fight long before it begins. They let anxiety dictate their direction and emotion dictate their decisions. Their thoughts move like leaves in the wind, driven by circumstance, guided by fear. Machiavelli saw this weakness clearly. He once wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." What he truly meant was that the environment reflects the mind. If your environment feels chaotic, it's because your mind is permitting chaos. If your world is loud and distracting, it's because your thoughts are unguarded. Mastery begins with awareness. Observe your thoughts without reacting. Shape them like disciplined soldiers, trained to follow your command. Your mind is both your greatest servant and your most dangerous master. If you don't take control, it will turn on you. Doubt, fear, insecurity. They will rise and rule your decisions. But when you learn to detach from impulsive thinking, your mind becomes a weapon, sharper than any blade. Machiavellian strength isn't born from aggression. It's forged in composure. The disciplined thinker moves with intention, slow but precise. His focus isn't scattered by the past or hijacked by the future. He moves deliberately, fully grounded in the present. That kind of control is what separates conquerors from the conquered. Mental mastery demands daily discipline. Replace fear with logic, emotion with intention, noise with silence. Every time your mind drifts toward weakness, pull it back. Every moment you resist impulse, you grow. Over time, your thoughts begin to serve you, not sabotage you. The world loses its grip on someone who is internally aligned. Insults lose meaning. Betrayal loses sting. Failure loses weight because your mind refuses to give them power. True strength doesn't come from resisting the world. It comes from mastering how you interpret it. Machiavelli believed reason must rule over desire. Desire clouds judgment. Reason clears it. The one who can remain detached yet decisive becomes untouchable. Every empire begins as a disciplined thought. Every downfall as a distracted one. When your mind is ruled by fear, the world controls you through it. But when your mind is ruled by strength, no one can manipulate you. Mental control is destiny control. You stop reacting. You start leading, step by step, choice by choice, calm, deliberate, unshaken. Rule your mind like a sovereign rules a kingdom. Guard it from ignorance, corruption, and doubt. Feed it with discipline. Protect it with focus. Let silence be its throne. When you master your thoughts, you stop chasing peace. You become it. Drop this in the comments. My mind obeys only me. Being mentally untouchable doesn't mean you feel nothing. It doesn't mean you're cold or disconnected. It means nothing. No betrayal, no insult, no failure can take control of you. You own your reactions. You command your focus. You design your peace. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every conflict, data. Every obstacle, a chance to reinforce your control. Machiavelli taught that power is not granted by luck. It's earned through discipline, observation, and strategy. Apply these lessons and you won't just survive the world. You'll move through it with clarity, authority, and calm that can't be shaken. Control begins within. When you rule your mind, no external force can destabilize you. Detachment protects you. Silence amplifies you. Absence increases your value. Calmness intimidates. Strategy defends you. And perception bends reality in your favor. Each principle strengthens the next, building a fortress of mental resilience that cannot be breached. The untouchable mind doesn't react, it rules. Through presence, through preparation, through patience, you stop reacting to life and directing it. If this resonated with you, take action. Like to commit to your growth. Share with someone who needs this clarity. Subscribe to continue mastering your mindset, because this path isn't a one-time lesson. It's a lifelong discipline. Silence, strategy, self-control. That is the way of the untouchable. Step into it, build it, live it. Let life test you and watch as nothing can shake you again. And remember, drop your affirmation below. My mind obeys only me. Because the moment you rule your mind, you rule everything.